Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Brendan Players. Welcome back to more Total Extreme Wrestling for our All Elite Wrestling save. Today, we are just a couple of weeks away from Double or Nothing, and it is the big one. We've got Kenny Omega versus Bryan Danielson one-on-one in our main event. Fingers crossed, it does deliver. Now, before we get there, a couple of small little changes we have made over the last little bit. So, a couple of things we've done. We've signed a few different people. We signed Satnam Singh. I forgot that we hadn't got him yet, so we actually brought him into our game. We put him in Ring of Honor, where he can be with Jay Lethal and Sanjay Dutt down there, and we don't have to really worry about it. But you never know. He could end up developing. He could end up, gaining some skills, and he might be useful at some point. I doubt it, but you never know. And I'm kind of thinking about doing similar to what AEW does in real life, and it's just kind of bringing in some guys for one-shot appearances, or just a couple of appearances. One of those is Tomohiro Ishii. So Ishii didn't have a contract at all, so he was unemployed. So I figured, okay, let's give him a contract for a short-term little run. Let's give him some matches, and maybe he'll pick up some interest from other companies. Well, that did happen. 01 did sign him immediately after we tried to get him. But look, he's got 47 pop. He's 46 years of age, so he's older, and his ring skills are pretty good. He might be able to have a decent match with someone in the mid-card, and someone who needs a win over an established, veteran name, could really benefit from it. Maybe a Ricky Starks, for example, could benefit from a win over him. Or Powerhouse Hobbs, something like that, where we can boost some of our younger guys by working with them. So we're going to look to sign a few more different names to that, just to kind of spice things up a little bit there. And we, since we've sent a lot of guys down to Ring of Honor, trying to get unique matches and guys just to lose all the time has been a little bit more challenging to put over our more desirable names. So bringing in some guys for one-shot appearances or even local talents a little bit more might be a way to kind of overcome that challenge. So we've got a few more names, but we'll talk about that after we get through Dynamite as well. So speaking of Dynamite, it is booked, it is ready to go. Omega and Danielson in the main event. Praying that it does deliver. We are dedicating a big portion of the show to that match, so let's hope. So let's jump into it on the pre-show. It is Hobbs taking on and defeating Michael Nakazawa. Just again, another guy just to lose to Hobbs, keep him wrestling, keep him working. 33 rated match, nothing really to see there. We're going to kick off the show with a hype video for Danielson and Omega, so we're looking just to, get some hype around this match, make this show centered around this match, make people really care about what's going on here. That'll be our main event, of course. Our opening match is Andrade and Sammy Guevara. Sammy Guevara loses to Andrade thanks to the interference from Park, and Andrade able to capitalize with a roll-up finish. So, yeah, look, good match, 80 rated. Andrade can only wrestle on Dynamite, so we're having that little bit of trouble of getting through some of his matches. I think he's got maybe one more to go. Sammy Guevara's got a few more to go as well, but Andrade steals a victory here. We're kind of going to really put Andrade over. I think he's done really well in this tournament, 83, so he outperformed Sammy Guevara here. And I like this combination he's got with Christian and Lance Archer. I feel like once we get through this tournament, there's something there to work with. And Andrade's picked up a few wins in the last, few matches, so I think he could be a guy that could nearly make the finals. So we'll see how that plays out. And we are really kind of going with Sammy and Park at the pay-per-view, so we're shifting both of those guys' focuses away from the tournament and having them even lose some matches in the tournament to get them out of that tournament and focus on that one-on-one match against each other, that third and final match. Post-match, Park and Guevara brawl after the match. So of course, Park interfered, cost Sammy Guevara, and Sammy Guevara is pissed off at Park, who is laughing ringside, and he comes out there and they just start fighting. So 80 rated there. So really setting up for one more match between those two. Ty Conti and Anna Jay are with Tony Schiavone, and TJ say the odds are stacked against them against Divinity, but they're not going to give up. So the tag team champions, they know, look, it's not looking good for us. Coming up against three badasses, we're in trouble, but we've come this far, we're going to continue to fight. So 47 for the promo, pretty decent, not too bad. Tony Storm and Penelope Ford had a 65 rated match. Yes, it was eye candy. 9 minutes. Tony Storm did grab the win over Penelope, so we're putting over Tony Storm here, giving her the win over the queen of the eye candy, Penelope. Good match, 65, really good stuff, advancing that storyline. Needed to get this one in the ring. It's been some promos back and forth. Needed to do something in the ring to elevate it, and this has definitely achieved that. So trying to continue to push Toni Storm. She's still relatively new to the roster, so I like this team with Toni and Thunder Rosa, this Thunderstorm team rather. It's pretty good, so we're continuing to really push them well. Keith Lee requests answers from Swerve Strickland, so he's requested an interview time with Tony Schiavone. He's bringing out Swerve. Swerve does come out, and he says that he feels like he's underappreciated and disrespected as a tag team partner with Keith Lee. So everyone's been talking about how great Keith Lee is. Big star, now the TNT champion. It's all about Keith Lee. Well, he's sort of saying, well, what about me? Where's my adulation? Where's all my respect? Why isn't everyone talking about me? So he just feels like he's really underappreciated. He's frustrated. So we're kind of maybe planting some seeds that maybe we'll have a match between these two. 70 rated. Next up, last week, Jericho and Adam Page, they lost to FTR on Rampage, which meant that they're not getting a title shot. This week, Chris Jericho blames Adam Page for the loss, and he ends up hitting the Judas effect on him. So the big turn, we've cut this angle a little bit shorter than what perhaps we thought. I was thinking, maybe not at All Out, that's a bit too far away, but giving it another month or so as these two guys together, but we've cut it short. It wasn't really working, and this is definitely a good sign that it will work when they're against one another, because this was a 97 rated angle, and we haven't been hitting anywhere near those numbers beforehand, so this is a much better segment. Jericho lays out Adam Page, stands over the top of him, and now we're all set to go. Page and Jericho one-on-one at Double or Nothing, which I think if we can recover this storyline heat and get it in a better position, angles like this will definitely help. I think we're gonna have a good match between the two. So positive signs there. But the team of Jericho and Page, the short-lived team, is done. Sting informs MJF that Punk will be ready and cleared for Double or Nothing, and they will face off in one last match. 85 rated there. So one more match between the two. MJF thought he'd done enough to get rid of CM Punk. Not to be. So Sting, obviously a lot of history between Sting and MJF, and now Save. Well, Sting happy to deliver the news that will make MJF squirm a little bit. Dax Harwood and Darby Allin went one-on-one, so now we know that FTR will face the House of Black at the pay-per-view for the tag belts. Well, FTR, they get a sneaky little win here thanks to a handful of tights. Dax Harwood beating Darby Allin. 80 rated match. Really, really good. Dax Harwood 76, Darby great 70. Really, really good match between these two. I thought we'd have a good solid mid-70s. To get an 80 out of this is massive. So huge win for Dax, who's coming off a big win over Jericho and Page last week. So I thought it might be nearly criminal to have him back that up with a loss this week. So we're trying to continue their red hot streak. They're just kind of really steamrolling the rest of the division at the moment. Really painting the picture that they are the team to beat at the moment, and they're a huge threat for the tag team championships. Still undecided if I'm going to give the belts to FTR or I'm going to keep it on House of Black, because House of Black haven't had it for long. So I'm a huge fan of FTR, though. I really think they could benefit from a run with the belts. So I'm not sure. We'll have to think about it. And kind of giving FTR the tag belts would elevate the Pinnacle as well, which we are going to stick with. I'm not going to break the Pinnacle up. I still think that was a group that could have been so much more. And even myself personally, I haven't done a lot with them, so we're trying to rectify that. Orange Cassidy challenges Ricky Starks to a match at Double or Nothing. 72 rated promo. Yeah, good stuff here from Cassidy. He's an underrated promo. I mean, I think he's just got charisma that really boosts up his skills, despite the fact doesn't really say a lot. But yeah, he challenges Ricky Starks to a match. 72 rated, really good, and that helps elevate the story. And the big match, the main event, Bryan Danielson, Kenny Omega, 25-minute match. Kenny Omega defeats Bryan Danielson. He cheats his way to a victory as well, thanks to interference by Adam Cole. 90 rated, so it did deliver. It did deliver. Both guys performing at 94, so you probably feel like we left a few points on the table. It could have been maybe 92, 93 plus. Not to be. But of course, this is the first of what will be a couple of matches between these two guys at some point. We're going to have the world title on the line, I'm sure of it, between these two down the line. So big match, dedicating a big portion of Dynamite to it. 90 rated, you can never be disappointed with that. I think that's a huge match and a huge result. And I wanted to try and have a couple of other really good matches on the show, so the overall show really delivered high. Because we knew we were going to have a massive main event, so it'd be a bit of a shame not to have big matches around it to really have a good overall show. So I think we've accomplished that. One more segment to go. A brawl breaks out between the Blackpool Combat Club and the Elite post-match. So yeah, Adam Cole, he interfered, screwed over Danielson, and then eventually everyone comes out to the ring and just a massive brawl breaks out. Claudio, unavailable for this segment because he's working in Japan tonight, so he's unable to work and be involved in this, but we just made it 4-on-4 still. Anyway, so 90 rated for the segment. Overall, I feel like we had a good show. We did 87. So we beat our big Dynamite from last week. We've backed it up with a huge one, 87. I still think our best Dynamite is 90, I believe, but still, that's got to be our second best we've ever done so far. Alright, the post results for Dynamite. Obviously, we had a big episode, and we did crack the million viewers again. Huge results, so 1,035,000, so about 30,000 viewer gain from last week, which is always a plus. Now, we did mention we're going to sign a few more people, and one of those is Madison Rayne, so we found out that she is coming to AEW to be, I guess, what you call a road agent, and in our game, she was actually retired, so she hasn't been having any matches, so we've unretired her, we brought her back. Now, she's got 75 mic skills, so her mic skills are really good. Star quality is decent as well. Her wrestling skills are pretty good as well. So she could be a really good member of the roster. I'm not sure what kind of role we'll give her, but with those mic skills, she definitely could be someone that could be a big asset on the mic to one of our groups or one of our tag teams. And we know Divinity certainly is struggling with their mic skills. Who's the talker in this group? Nobody. Would Madison Rayne fit that group? You probably would say no, but certainly something to think about. You know, maybe another women's tag team could use it, or she could just be a veteran solo star herself. I'm not sure if I'd go with that, but you know, I might see how she's kind of looking. I haven't seen her wrestle in many years since the Impact days, so I haven't seen it for a long time. So we'll see how she kind of goes in real life and maybe make the decision what kind of would be suitable for our game. Now, here's a wild card one, Mr. Anderson. I read something online that he would love to come back as a manager, and I was thinking to myself, my God, Mr. Anderson as a manager would be amazing because, you know, in his prime, one of the great talkers of his generation. 85 mic skill, 82 charisma in our game. And I'm just thinking, man, you know, look at someone like Paul Heyman, you know, that Mr. Anderson could certainly deliver that sort of intro, you know, hyping up his whoever's he's managing before the match, just like a Paul Heyman would. I just feel like that could really work, and he could really be a huge asset to somebody. Who would that be? I don't know. That's the thing. I've kind of brought him in, and I'm just kind of thinking, what would be a good fit for him? And one name I threw out to myself was Powerhouse Hobbs. Now, he has Mark Henry as his manager, but, you know, he's kind of been floundering around. Maybe a heel turn, and Mr. Anderson kind of pumping him up as this big monster could really be a beneficial move for him. The only issue is that we got so many monsters on the card. You know, got Lance Archer's one. You know, you got Brian Cage, who is a babyface now, so that won't affect him too much. But there's a lot of big names, big guys on the roster, and someone like Will Hobbs, would he get lost a little bit in the shuffle? I don't think so. I think he'd be able to get through that and end up being a pretty big name. You know, I guess, you know, Luchasaurus is another one. He's a babyface as well, so that doesn't affect him. So there could be an opening there for him. You know, Paul White's another one. We don't really use him. You know, Wardlow, he's the other big guy heel. He's kind of still, you know, not being pushed as a big solo star yet. So there could be room for Hobbs to make that change. But yeah, I'm kind of torn on where I want to go with that. Otherwise, I'm not sure. I mean, I think Anderson, having him manage a main event level talent is almost a must, because I think he's got the mic skills that could really elevate someone to that level. You know, do you look at an FTR, someone way better on the mic than a Tully Blanchard? Could that help them? Yes, but would it really fit the mold that they kind of go with? No, not really, because Anderson you wouldn't say is a big classic wrestling name. He had a good run, but certainly not that world champion or legendary name from the past. It would be more suitable to that group. And everyone else there, wouldn't really suit. Miro potentially, but I don't think Miro really needs it. I think he's good enough on his own. And further down the card, again, not really sure. So I don't really know what we could do with Anderson. All I know is I want to do something with him. I got to find someone that would work. And I think at the moment, Will Hobbs might be that pick. But if you've got a suggestion, throw it to me in the comment section down below. The other name was with Yuji Nagata. Now, this is one of those guys that we thought, okay, a one-shot appearance, bring him in for a night, have a match, and move him on. So that's kind of what we're thinking about doing there. And just someone who can come in and lose. And we talked about we're going to do that a little bit more, just to spice things up a little bit, because AEW do it all the time. We could always bring in someone from Ring of Honor to do that potentially as well. So a few things to kind of think about as we move on to the next episode of Dark. Okay, on to this week's episode of AEW Dark, and we're going to have a newcomer to AEW, Chris Mordetsky. He's going to have a match against Preston, just a local talent, of course, Chris Masters, formerly known as. Not under contract thing, just going to use him for the one-off. But he performed at 38, so he might be a guy that we can bring in here and there for some matches on Dark. A little bit of name value still, not a lot, but we gave Preston the win here, 39 rated for the match. Satnam Singh, we get our first chance to see what he can do, and it's not a lot. 14 rated performance, he defeats Alan Angels, 3 minutes, in and out quick, making sure he didn't overstay his welcome. No surprise. I just wanted to see, okay, is he absolutely dreadful, or is he passable? Is he going to even be worth potentially looking at using in this save? The answer is no, he sucks, he's horrible. We're going to send him to Ring of Honor, keep him there. Jay Lethal, Sanjay Dutt can deal with him in Ring of Honor, and we can just forget that he's there. So 30 rated for the match. Of course, Alan Angels, we're going to be getting rid of him soon, so he'll be doing some jobs on the way out. Top Flight. So I just realized we haven't used Top Flight for over a month. So I figured, well, we better give him a match, get him back on TV. They defeated the Wingman, still in the pre-show though. Dante, 47, Darius, 54. So Darius continues to outperform Dante. They defeated the Wingman, of course, Cesaro Bononi, 36, and Nemeth, 33. 50 rated match. Look, to get 54 and 47 out of Top Flight is really promising. I think we could probably do something there. And honestly, a Private Party versus Top Flight feud would be money. And I'm thinking with Private Party, we might have to maybe turn them heel potentially to do something a little bit different, because there's a babyface team. They're not really standing out, but there is a lot of heel teams that aren't really doing a lot either. But like look at Proud and Powerful, for example. So might be really worth changing Proud and Powerful to babyface, Private Party to heel, freshen both teams up. Maybe they can feud with each other. Something there. But anyways, Top Flight really good there, and definitely need to get them back in the mix. We're going to open up this week's episode of Dark on the main show with Christian Coalition defeating the Dark Order. 61 rated match. Christian Cage, 85. Wow. That is really good. Lance Archer, 74. Silver, 49. Reynolds, 42. The performance of Christian Cage stood out as being good. Damn right it did. 85. Holy crap. That is very, very good. So a nice solid win for the Coalition. Just trying to get them established as a team, get them some wins, get them some reps as a group, and just keep them winning. I mean, I think we're ready to kind of pull the trigger on them doing something kind of major once Andrade's out of the tournament and that tournament's over. I think we are ready to kind of, put them in a high-profile feud. And certainly with the Trios Championship, that's a pretty good trio that could definitely make a run for the Trios Championship. So looking forward to seeing what happens after Double or Nothing with them. Ricky Starks and Tony Nese here as Ricky Starks accepts Orange Cassidy's challenge for Double or Nothing. 68 rated promo, very good stuff from Starks. The Wingman, they hyped themselves up 29, so I added the Top Flight match last minute, and I forgot that we did do a Wingman promo, but look, they took a loss, they took it in pride, and then afterwards they said, you know what, doesn't matter if we lost tonight, we're still great, so, good for them, 29. We got the Shining Force and Thunderstorm teaming up to take on the Stretching Crew and the Baddies. So 8-woman tag. We had this, I think, as an eye candy match, 9 minutes. Best of the match was Kira Hogan. there you go, 64. That's a surprise. Toni Storm 62 was the best on her team, and it was Shining Force and Thunderstorm grabbing the win. And I think we had Superbad ringside watching on as well to advance the Thunderstorm and Superbad storyline. So yeah, 59 rated match. Good way to get all the women involved, get them a win for some of them. So yeah, pretty good. Next up, the Hardys give their thoughts on the best young teams in AEW. 44 rated, so pretty poor promo. We did have it rated on the actual people they were talking about though, and the overness of the people that they were talking about. So that's why it was brought down a bit. And I think we're mentioning Private Party, we're mentioning Top Flight as a couple of those teams. So yeah, definitely need to do something with both those teams. And we're kind of using the Hardys here, maybe not as a mentor. I mean, we could. We don't want to do big money matter or anything like that, but you know, we could use them as a loose sort of mentor, or at least someone that's kind of keeping their eye on the young talents, and they're going to try and, you know, mentor, well, not mentor, but just maybe have a match with them, try and, you know, help them out a little bit, give them some advice. Paul White says Ethan Page has no chance of beating Sammy Guevara tonight in our main event. Of course, part of the All-Atlantic Championship tournament. Ethan Page confronts him, and he's furious. So, look, Ethan Page has eaten a bowl of shit throughout this entire tournament. Let's be real. He has lost every single match, and he will lose every match in the tournament. This is his last one. The positive thing that's going to come out of this for Ethan is I'm going to give him a match with Paul White, maybe a double or nothing, why not? And I'm going to have Ethan Page beat him. So that's what Ethan Page is going to get out of this, because Paul White throughout this whole time is going to be giving his commentary on the tournament, kind of giving his thoughts, opinions, who's going to win, who's doing bad. And he's been talking trash about Ethan Page the entire time, saying how poor he's done by losing every match. Well, at least Ethan Page will have something coming out of this tournament. He'll get a win over Paul, and we'll see what happens. So he'll get something, thank goodness. 67 though for the angle, pretty good. Proud and Powerful pick up a win over SCU, 58. So Ortiz, 74, Santana, 68. Kazarian, 53, Daniels, 54. Yeah, SCU just, you know, are there just to be a team, just to lose to everyone else. Proud and Powerful, we have just, again, dropped the ball with them. Just like in real life, we just haven't pulled the trigger on them. And same with Lucha Bros, you know, they're another team that we just didn't quite take them all the way. When they were close, we didn't get them all the way to where they should have been. They need something different. Is it a babyface turn? I still feel like that could be the answer. At least something, you know, at least it'll freshen them up and give them some new opponents to kind of face. And I feel like that's the problem. There's not many babyface teams that they can beat because they've all got more popularity than them, or are trying to do more with them. So, yeah, it might be what we need to do. The portfolio, Trash Talk, Ruby Soho, 52 rated for that one, gaining storyline heat, which is good. So continuing that storyline. Madison Rayne makes her debut against Julia Hart. So yeah, Madison Rayne's going to come into AEW in real life. She's going to be like a coach or the head of the women's division, something like that. So we're going to bring her in, of course, to match that. She performed at 52 with a win over Julia. Now, I was really conflicted. Where do we go with Madison Rayne? Do we have her, you know, be an in-ring wrestler and kind of be a potential bigger name? She's got some popularity. She's definitely got some name value. She could be a bigger name for us. She's got some good mic skills, 70 plus. Could she be a manager? And I really didn't know. So I was thinking, okay, Divinity, they need something. They need a manager, they need something. So I was thinking, okay, let's make her a manager. But then I thought, well, I feel like Madison Rayne just kind of being their manager might be a bit of a waste. I feel like she could do more than that. So in the end, I decided I'm going to make her an executive. So I'm going to make her, I guess what Sting is to the overall company, I'm going to make Madison Rayne the GM, I suppose, of the women's division. So she's going to be behind the scenes. She's going to be an important figure, the person that all the women come to for all their problems. So she's going to be a heel, and we might use Divinity as the group that kind of does Madison Rayne's bidding. So Madison Rayne's going to be a little bit, a little bit controversial. She's going to be not 100%, right in all the things that she's going to do. She's going to bend the rules a little bit. So we're going to have Divinity be there to assist Madison Rayne in her quest to take over and just be, make the women's division what she wants. So 42 for that one. Post-match, 53 for the promo. Reign says she has huge plans for AEW. Well, that she does. So that's where we're at with her. So that way, I guess she still is affiliated with Divinity. She can still speak on behalf of them and help them, but also have a bigger role as well. She might not wrestle as much. That's probably the only downside, I guess, to it. But she's got probably the best mic skills in the women's division. So we can have her in more segments with more different women, and maybe we can use her mic skills to promote some of the other women. Athena wants a rematch with Britt Baker after Britt Baker cheated her way to a victory. 46 for that one. And the main event, we mentioned it earlier, Ethan Page and Sammy Guevara going one-on-one. It was an 18-minute match, 73 rated. Ethan Page 52, Sammy Guevara 88. Lack of psychology here. The Sammy though, 88 is really good, very, very good. And overall, it's a solid match. In the end, Paul White made a distraction on Ethan Page, so he came down, to kind of lend some healthy advice, some friendly advice to Ethan Page. Ethan Page got a bit distracted. Sammy Guevara took advantage, and Ethan Page lost the match. So that's a way as well to continue to promote that feud between White and Page. Overall, 64 rated for Dark. So let's open up Rampage this week. We've got the Elite all out there, and you knew this was coming. They're bragging about their huge win over Bryan Danielson, even though Adam Cole interfered, cost Danielson the match. Doesn't matter. They're talking about how amazing they are and how there's nearly no chance they're going to lose the Blood and Guts match. 100 rated really helps ramp up the storyline for the match. Samoa Joe, he has a match with Kyle O'Reilly, so this will kind of dampen them a little bit and take the smiles off their face because Samoa Joe picks up the win. 16-minute match, 66 rated. Joe, yeah, not great. 64, Kyle O'Reilly, 75. Yeah, look, Samoa Joe, it's a worry. He is declining in our game, and he's just not really getting it done. He's been good, but, we'd hope that we could make him a main event level guy, but I just don't think he's got it in him anymore to be on that level, which is a shame. So, unfortunately, once this storyline's kind of done, he might kind of be in that upper mid-card purgatory with Lance Archer and Brian Cage and those sort of guys who just can't really seem to get over the hump of being that, that main event star. I like to think Joe could do better than that, but with his performances, I couldn't really give him much more. I just don't think he's got it in him to do better. Kyle O'Reilly though, 75, that was very good. So, yeah. Next up, Death Triangle. They try to take out Sammy Guevara, but Sammy gets help from the House of Black. So, tag team champions, the good guy baby faces. I figured why not have them, they're seeing Sammy Guevara getting jumped 3-on-1 backstage. They kind of come along to make sure it's broken up. So Park's trying to take out Sammy Guevara because Park's going to take Miro on in our main event, and Sammy Guevara has been terrorizing Park for weeks now, and vice versa. They've both been after one another. So Park wants a fair chance at beating Miro tonight, and he knows if Sammy Guevara's around, he's probably not going to get that. But Sammy luckily gets a bit of help from the House of Black. It's just a one-off, just wasn't really any long-term meaning behind it. Yeah, we could do a match, I suppose, if you wanted, but yeah, I just think it was just a one-off just to build the Sammy Guevara and have a reason why Sammy Guevara didn't get beaten down for the night, basically, because otherwise, 3-on-1, who's gonna stop him? And why wouldn't Park make sure that Sammy Guevara isn't there to interfere? So it wouldn't make sense if Sammy was walking around potentially able to interfere. And 77 for the segment, so that's good. Next up, Jade Cargill puts her women's championship on the line against Chris Statlander, who we haven't used for nearly 2 months. And it's not because I don't want to use Statlander. I definitely think she's good. We just don't have anything for her. She's not in a tag team at the moment, which has kind of been my main focus of the women's division. And Jade already had an opponent with Ruby Soho. So Statlander's kind of out of the mix because we're not really having another feud outside the belt. Well, we do with Athena and Britt Baker, I guess. So that's 3 women's feuds already. So I didn't think we really needed a 4th. So unfortunately, Statlander's kind of out of the mix a little bit. But I figured, all right, throw her back on TV. I know she's going to have a good match against Jade. Jade can put the title on the line, get a title defense, make her look good, and also have Ruby Soho ringside watching on. and advance the storyline. So 58 for the match. We needed a really good match to kind of build the story, so that's the main reason for it. It was an eye candy match, so we tried to kind of boost it up that way. And I think it worked. Jade had a good performance, 65. Statlander 66. So it was a better way of doing it. That's Jade Cargill's 5th championship defense as well. Dustin Rhodes confronts Chris Jericho about what he did to Hangman. So Jericho did take out Hangman on Dynamite with the Judas effect. Well, Dustin tried to warn him. He said, look, don't trust Chris Jericho. I know him well. He's going to come back and get you at some point. 75 for this one. So we're kind of inserting Dustin into this one a little bit. Maybe we do a Jericho and Dustin Rhodes match. Why not? And maybe Jericho tries to beat down Dustin Rhodes after the match. And Adam Page comes in for the save. Pretty easy way to kind of do it. So 75 for that one. Did bring the storyline heat down. It was always a risk to have Dustin Rhodes in a talking segment with his lack of popularity with Jericho, but we figured why not do it? Let's try and elevate Dustin a little bit, make this a little bit more meaningful. And it's a nice sidebar to the story because at the moment the story's been, pretty predictable, pretty lackluster. So we're at least inserting something a little bit different into it to mix it up a little bit. So yeah, 75 for that one. The main event didn't deliver as much as we would have liked. The 79 rated match between Park and Miro, and involved, of course, in the All-Atlantic Championship Tournament. Miro grabs the win, and he remains undefeated with one match to go. As Sammy Guevara, you guessed it, he interfered, he cost Park the match, so he eventually got what he wanted. Not enough psychology on display, which brought it down, which is a real shame, and I suppose the Championship Tournament storyline probably brought the match down a little bit too, because Park performed at 91, Miro at 85, two 5-star performances, but just not a 5-star match, unfortunately. But yeah, really good stuff, can't complain with that. Maybe having the women's match beforehand didn't help either, that's a real possibility, but nonetheless, 79 could have been better, and maybe these two will have another match at some point, but Miro gets the 2 points and he moves ahead in the tournament. And it gives us a 74 rated show, which brings our popularity down. Unfortunately, yeah, we didn't have enough good matches on here to really have a great overall show. But, it's only very slightly, so that's okay. So for the tournament, we need to have Andrade versus Claudio. That's going to take place on Dynamite because Andrade is unavailable on Rampage. Sammy Guevara is also going to face Claudio as well. Then that's them done. Then we've got Park. He's got to take on Rey Fenix. And Miro, he's going to take on Sammy Guevara. So once we do that, we're done. So I think we could do that. Sammy Guevara, he can have a match with Miro on Dynamite. That will work out fine. Park and Rey Fenix can do it whenever. Maybe Dynamite, maybe Rampage. So I think we'll get it done. We should have enough time to get all those matches done this week. And then we'll find out who's going to be in the finals of the tournament. So I guess for Double or Nothing, we're going to have, the last two, the final two, which is looking like Miro and Andrade at this point. I don't see how that's going to change. I mean, Claudio's got 2 more matches, so he definitely could get there. If he beats Andrade, they'll both be on 10, and if Claudio can beat Sammy Guevara, then he'll move to 12, and then Miro will probably have 14 if he beats Sammy Guevara as well. So yeah, that'll be interesting to see, and that will pretty much shape up the finals there. Claudio and Miro 1-on-1 for the championship. I think that'll be a good match, so that should be exciting. And Andrade, though, I was very tempted to give him the belt too, so I'm a little bit torn, so we'll have to see where we're going to go with it. We could do, the final 4, and then the top, they have the 2 winners out of those 2 matches face off in the final. That might be even a better way of doing it as well. So yeah, we'll see. But that's kind of where we're at with the tournament. In terms of popularity, just want to check a couple of things. Obviously, Dustin Rhodes, he had a good match, a good promo this week. Before we do that, though, Samoa Joe, no real change despite his win over Kyle O'Reilly. Dustin Rhodes, 46-47. No real gain for him. Miro, obviously, had another big win over Park. He's getting right up there. He's nearly at the 85 threshold. Park's doing pretty well as well. Sammy Guevara been heavily involved. He's taken a few losses, so his popularity has dropped a little bit, but nothing too concerning. But yeah, we talked about potentially turning Proud and Powerful I think it might be a good decision. They both got 65 popularity for Santana, so certainly something there. Ortiz is a lot lower, actually, a lot more towards the 60s, so definitely something there. And obviously Private Party is another team that might need to make the jump and the switch as well. So we'll have to think about what we're going to do there to try and spice up the roster a little bit. Lance Archer, obviously, he and Christian probably getting ready for a big run. I think the Trios Championship should be the way to go with them. I think that will be a good move. And obviously Jade, she had a big win over Chris Statlander. She's got herself towards the mid-40s in popularity. Statlander remains around 44, so still looking really, really good. So yeah, 1 week away from Double or Nothing. I think our storylines are all pretty much set. We've kind of been treading water a little bit, waiting for the pay-per-view. But I think the pay-per-view is going to really deliver. I'm worried about the main event, Blood and Guts, being amazing, because there's so many guys involved. So that's a risk to have that as the main event, but I feel like you've got to do it. So I feel like it's going to be good. I mean, you could have the All-Atlantic Championship final as the main event, because that could honestly be the best match on the card. That'll CM Punk MJF, so we'll see. But ladies and gentlemen, that's all we have time for this edition of Total Extreme Wrestling. If you enjoyed it, leave a like on it and subscribe. Double or Nothing coming away very, very soon. Don't miss it. Thanks for watching. See you next time.